so using what we know about complementary, supplementary, we want to find the measure for angles 1 and 3.
190.
Okay, how is 190?
Because it's got the little square, it's a right angle.
It's a right angle, so it's 90 degrees. All right, measure of angle 2, we know is 26. Now, do we know that 2 and 3 are right angles, total?
Yes.
Why?
Because of the other one.
It has to be.
Okay, so if the whole thing, all 3 of these together is a total of what?
180.
So if this is 90, the other half over here must also be
90.
So how would we find the measure of angle 3?
90 minus 26.
Okay, in your calculator, 90 minus 26, 64 degrees. So pretty easy when you know one measure, you can find the others. Not too difficult, right? And this is actually something we've covered before. Alright, so let's, using the same set of angles, let's say that the measure of angle 2 is going to be x, and the measure of angle 3 is going to be x minus 16. So same diagram, but we're going to find out the measure of angles 2 and 3. And you can't just say angle 2 is 28 because it's what it was before, so 26. Okay? So measure of angle 1 is still going to be 90, right? So if this is 90, I still know that 2 and 3 have a total of what? 90 degrees. So you need to write an equation. For me, it's easier if I actually label the angle 2 as x and angle 3 is x minus 16. Now, what would I do with x and x minus 16? Combine them, and what do they have to equal? Okay, does everyone know how we come up with 90 there?
Yes.
Because this angle plus this angle, 2 plus 3, must have a total of 90 degrees. So when I write my equation, it's x, because that's angle 2, plus angle 3. So plus x minus 16 would have to be a total of 90. So this, we're back to solving an algebraic equation. So what do we do next? So x plus x would give us 2x minus 16 equals 90. So my goal is I need to figure out what x equals. What would I do? Add 16 first. So 2x equals 106. Then what? Divide by 2. And x would equal 53. Okay, that's what x equals.
Wrong.
So, if x equals 53, what's the measure of angle 2? It's just 53 because it was just x. Well, the diagram doesn't have to be exactly correct as long as you're solving the equation correct. So how would I figure out what the measure of angle 3 is? 53 minus 16 because it was x minus 16. And what do we get? To be 100% sure that we are correct, we should add 90 plus 53 plus 37. And what should our total be? 180 because we have a straight line. Pretty straightforward. Okay, let's look at one that's a little bit different. Maybe. There we go. All right, we have 2 angles, 4 and 5. I'm not going to tell you anything about them. What do you know?
5.
Okay, so we know these are congruent, we know those are congruent. But what do I know about 4 and 5? Why do they equal 180? Because they make a straight line. Does everyone see that? That's the first thing we want to look for. What do we call angles that add up to 180?
Supplement.
Supplementary. Alright, so we're going to say that the measure of angle 4 is going to be 2x. And the measure of angle 5 is going to be x plus 9. So what do I know? Anthony?
I need the bottom here, but that's not new.
That's what you're actually supposed to be working on? You're on problem 3. Alright, so what would I do with the two of these? What do I know angle 4 and angle 5 have to add up to? Okay, so if angle 4 is 2x, and angle 5 is x plus 9. How would I set up my equation? So angle 4 plus angle 5 equals 180. Alright, so how do we solve this? 2x plus another x would give me 3x plus 9 equals 180. Then what? Minus 9 from each side. And we get 3x equals 171. And now divide by 3. And we should get x equals 57. That's what x equals, not what the angles equal. So how would I find out the measure of angle 4? So 57 in for x. So in our calculator we would do 2 times 57. What do you get? Alright, so what about for the measure of angle 5? 57 plus 9, and that would give us? How do we know if we're right? 114 plus 66, and what should we get as our total? Do you? Okay. Give me a bunch of this. Okay, the measure of angle 5 equals the measure of angle 6. So what's the angle in the middle? 90. I know it's 90 because there's a little red box there. Okay, so what do I know about all 3 of these angles? They make a straight line, right? So they got to equal 180. Well, if I've already got 90 degrees for just this one, how much is left to split up between angle 5 and 6? Another 90. Well, if I know they're both equal, what would I have to do to 90 to find out what the measures of each of these are? Divide it by 2, and what do you get? Just to be sure, how could you check your work? Add them up together. All right, we're gonna do. Actually. Alright, so angle 3 is going to be 2x plus 23. And then angle 4 is going to be 5x minus 12. What do I know about angles 3 and 4? What kind of angles are those? Not adjacent. Adjacent means they're going to be right next to each other. What do we call them when they're across? They're vertical. Well, what do I know about vertical angles? They are the same. So what would the equation have to look like? If I know that angle 3 is 2x plus 23, and I know angle 4 is 5x minus 12, and they're equal to each other, how would I set that up? We would say angle 3, which is 2x plus 23, is equal to angle 4, which is 5x minus 12. How would you solve this? What would you do first? Minus 2x from each side? Does that have to be our first step? No. Or you could subtract 5x from each side. Some of you most of you probably say, well, I want to deal with a 2x so I don't get a negative, right? So we don't want to have a negative. So let's minus 2x from both sides. So we'll get 23 equals 3x minus 12. Now we're going to add 12 to both sides since it says minus. So 3x equals 35. Divide by 3.